Hey guys, you've summoned a lesser maker. Today we're going to take a closer look at my favorite third-party 5e system. Because of all the OGL stuff, D&D has kind of hit a rough patch, and I think it's important to highlight these communities that probably were affected by this and support them. I want to talk about Star Wars 5e. They have their own website, their own character builder. It's basically a D&D Beyond, but made by a Reddit group. They have 4 rule books, and they're all free. They have their own ship mechanics. That's something Spelljammer doesn't even have. It's like a really good system, and it really highlights why this whole OGL stuff is important. A community can't come together and make something and create something bases off, and it was scary for me that Wizards of the Coast would kind of go after stuff like this. So the reason I'm bringing this up, this is a terrain channel and a miniature channel. Week to week, I play D&D. My first DMing experience was in this system, so that's why it's important. I'm also moving into this new space, and I was unpacking some boxes. Nice to look back and kind of reminisce about some things that you made in the past. So let's take a look at this terrain. As you can see, I have basically a whole board filled. This is actually my first terrain piece that I ever made. This is based off of an Epson cartridge from one of my industrial size printers. And that's what I do for a living. I'm a printer. I kind of base this whole thing off of a printer cartridge. It's basically a speeder gas station. That's what I thought of it, at least. And then my second builds were these moisture evaporators. And then I got a new job, and so I worked on this printer. It's you don't care about that, but I got a bunch of these caps that I thought looked really Star Warsy. Use that for a bunch of terrain. Well, one of the things that really I wanted to always do for the game was have like a speeder chase. So I made these speeders. This is an Imperial one, and this is Ram speeder. He owns the Chimera, this big ship right over here, and he's a 4-armed. He's basically a Minotaur, but in the Star Wars universe. So he owns the Chimera here, and I am really happy with this guy. It looks amazing. And then that landing platform is the bottom of a shop vac that my production supervisor at one of my jobs gave me to throw away. So I let it touch the bottom of the trash can, then I went out and put it in my car. These are the internals of some speakers that were on the ceiling when I moved into this house. And this is just made out of cardboard, pen caps, and bionicle pieces, and some staple cartridges for my printers. And this is actually the motor for a sander that burnt out on me. That one turned out really cool. This guy is actually a proper kit bash because it's an actual kit. This is a ATST kit, and it's like a couple of the legs and stuff like that. This is my first player character. His name was Davin. He was a pod racer from Tatooine, or the Bone to Eve stuff. So I based that off of the N64 game lore. My other player character is IGNK. He's an assassin droid that transferred his consciousness into a gonk droid and couldn't get his consciousness out of it. I love this system because I think as Star Wars fans, we all have that idea of, man, I wish they had done this better in the movie, or that whole prequel trilogy isn't that good, or the sequel trilogy isn't that good, which I think everyone can agree on. Basically, I was thinking during the Mandalorian show, I was like, man, that would be a really great idea for a story. And so that's kind of why I made all this, is I made its own story. If you're not interested in my lore, to kind of jumpstart your campaign if you want it, then you can skip this part. My universe starts after Return of the Jedi, a couple years, and kind of in tandem with The Mandalorian, because I like that show. So the Empire split after the Emperor died. It kind of happened under the radar. People don't really know like what happened. So the empire was basically leaderless. After that, a ton of new emperors went out proclaiming themselves with the firepower of the empire. They were split up against each other, fighting themselves. And the new alliance was able to kind of restructure, kind of team up with some of the empire factions and establish a new alliance among the galaxy. Now, there was one emperor in particular who probably had the most merit out of any of them, and his name was Starkiller. He was on the Inquisitor faction for the Empire, and he claimed that he was the one true emperor because he was an apprentice to Darth Vader, being the next in succession for the Empire. Another Imperial force teamed up with them. His name was Graven, and they have a droid army to kind of supplement what the stormtroopers that they lost. So a new droid army is about to be kind of brought up from the surface, mainly IGN droids, and a new age of lawlessness kind of came with that as well. Share what your favorite third-party games are for the 5e system, or just put Mordheim 100 times. So thanks for kind of joining me with this weird episode. Wanted a kind of easy episode this week so I could spend 2 weeks on my Mordheim board. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great one.